New leaders are introduced during Annual Council 2023. Adventist Church Treasurer's Report encourages faithfulness to the mission. Vegan restaurant is launched by Adventist Church in the capital of Colombia. These and other news are coming up here on ANN. During this year's annual council of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, held at the denomination's headquarters in Silver Spring, Maryland, in the United States, new leaders were introduced. One role was for a continental administrative position, and 6 others were for roles at the General Conference. Get to know the leaders and other details now.
The nominating committee selected for Annual Council 2023 presented its report, recommending 7 new positions to the assembled delegates. Each recommendation was voted on and carried by the Executive Committee, commonly with 200 votes or more. They are East Central Africa, Division Treasurer Johannes Olanabayeni, Scientist for Geoscience Research Institute, Lance Pompey, Field Secretary Vyacheslav Demyan, Associate Director Children's Ministries Nilda Aitin, Associate Director of Planned Giving and Trust Services Hector Reyes, Associate Director of Sabbath School and Personal Ministries, Jaipal Daniel Ebenezer Sundararaj. Associate Director, Women's Ministries, Galina Stele. In another report, Justin Kim, editor of the Adventist Review, highlighted past, recent, and future developments of the ministry. Kim emphasized that, though it has been around for 175 years, the publication, which distributes over 1 million copies of magazines around the world every month, and has a robust online presence, remains relevant in today's context. It is driven by its focus to stay true to its Adventist heritage while retaining the God-given innovative spirit our pioneers exhibited by inspiring, encouraging, and educating readers worldwide to be prepared for the soon coming of Christ.
Adventist Review is a magazine that has also been around for a long time, but yet is still updated and relevant. It has withstood the test of time, witnessed many things, and written about millions more. Our ministry keeps abreast of trends and technology in the world of faith and culture, and offers insights and perspectives that are profound, fresh, and engaging. Adventist Review is unafraid to ask hard questions, explore new ideas, and challenge the status quo. It's a magazine for people who want to grow in Christ, learn, and connect with fellow Adventists who share their passion for God and His mission. We are passionate about sharing the good news of Jesus Christ and His soon return. That's why we write with conviction and clarity to inspire, encourage, inform, and educate. Our global Seventh-day Adventist Church is a vibrant, diverse movement of more than 22 million people committed to following God's will and His word. We want to keep our members inspired, informed, and updated on the latest developments, news, and stories from our worldwide church. That's our mission and our joy.
Oh, and as you have noticed, we're more than just magazines.
Paul H. Douglas, Treasurer of the General Conference, presented the Treasurer's Report, highlighting global macroeconomic trends that significantly impact the financial condition of the church, such as inflation, interest rates, and currencies. He reported that despite global challenges, the Adventist Church's financial position is solid. However, as Douglas put it, COVID-19 has left a legacy impact on economies around the world, but by the grace of God, God's church continues to grow in both membership and giving. After highlighting the church's financial position, Douglas emphasized the importance of focusing on the mission. He presented the responsibility of the church financial resources through the lens of the Mission Refocus initiative.
Mission Refocus, my friends, is a spiritual movement. Mission Refocus is also a sound investment. So Mission Refocus encompasses 4 areas. First, rebalancing missionary placements from the administrative positions to the front line. Secondly, adopting a mission field in unentered or low-entered areas. Thirdly, making disciples that grow in Christ and who will say, I will go make disciples for Christ. But 4, and of particular interest to the General Conference and Division Treasurers, mobilizing resources for mission. both human, financial, as well as technological resources. And in this area of mobilizing resources for mission, the General Conference and Division Treasury is taking an active part to ensure that church leaders are faithful stewards of the resources God has provided to do His mission and positioning these resources to have the greatest of impact.
Read the full coverage of Annual Council 2023 in detail by visiting adventist.news. Vegan restaurant is launched in the heart of Bogotá City, Colombia, by the Adventist Church in the region. Larger plans are to turn the place into a center of influence. This is the only church-operated restaurant in the city, and the dream is to have a full-time chaplain on site every week. Leaders also plan on expanding the space named Green Food to include a healthy lifestyle center. The church opened the restaurant 26 years ago, but decided to expand, renovate, and convert it to a vegan restaurant with gluten-free, lactose-free, and sugar-free options. The Green Food Vegan Restaurant is operated by the Upper Magdalena Conference, located in the central western region of Colombia, and can serve up to 150 people at a time. Dozens of church leaders and members toured the restaurant that is a focal point for the denomination strategy to highlight a healthy lifestyle with a spiritual ambiance. The administrative structure of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in the North Asia-Pacific region is advancing. The General Conference recently approved the integration of 4 more countries into the regional division. The proposal sought to facilitate the spreading of the gospel of hope with a focus on action, mainly in the area of health.
The church's headquarters, located in the Northern Asian Pacific region, now oversees South Korea, Japan, Mongolia, Taiwan, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. The decision on the new territorial distribution of the Northern Asia-Pacific region was approved at the Annual Council of the General Conference after the proposal presented by a committee that studied the expansion in detail. Johan Kim, Seventh-day Adventist Church President for the region, expressed his gratitude to the world church leaders who helped make this dream come true.
It is my honor and privilege to introduce new 4 countries.
With the new administrative structure map, even though the countries are separated in geography, the leaders are united in purpose and intend to advance with a multicultural approach, explained Peter Landless, World Health Director of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
We have strong dental work in a number of the countries which are going to be involved in this move, and 2 key hospitals which are on the 1040 window. And I'd like to express an appreciation to the divisions which have cared for those so far, and also an appreciation, if this is voted, to the NSD as to the commitment they are making towards these, particularly the 2 hospitals, which are key in our evangelism and outreach in these areas.
In Timor-Leste, there is a reason to celebrate as Adventist education in the region inaugurates its 4th school branch in just over a year. TAIS, or Timor-Leste Adventist International Schools, are situated in a challenging territory and serve as a remarkable source of hope for the local community. In October 2022, the Los Palos branch of TAIS was officially inaugurated. This was closely followed by the opening of branches in Sami in November 2022 and Bacau in August 2023. Reflecting this remarkable growth, the town of Vique extended a warm welcome to the 4th branch in September. The inauguration ceremony in Vique was honored by the presence of local government authorities who expressed great appreciation for a school they believe can better equip the city's children. According to them, this will undoubtedly have a significant impact on the future. TAIS stands out for its English instruction. Currently, the TAIS network in Vique enrolled 15 students with expectations of growth in the coming year. This underscores the high demand for quality education in the region and the trust placed in the Adventist education system. The biblical Sabbath, established in the week of creation and remembered in the 4th commandment, is in the name and in the very DNA of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. On a recent episode of Understanding Adventist Beliefs, Hosts Frank Hassel and Keldy Peroshi dive deeper into the meaning and purpose behind this fundamental belief. They discuss why the Sabbath is still important and interview special guest Matilde Free, a specialist in the Old Testament.
Very interesting. So we have the Sabbath starting in Eden, basically, at the very beginning of humanity. Then we see it later on in the Pentateuch in Exodus. And then you mentioned Exodus 20, of course, where he has the commandments, and the Sabbath is there again.
That is where the Sabbath takes its central place. It is at the heart of those 10 commandments. And it kind of like builds that transition from the part of the 10 commandments that are directly speaking to human relationship and God, and then comes Sabbath as the day of the Lord your God. And the Sabbath then includes human beings in the sense of family community. Everyone in that community is part of it. No one is excluded. Everyone is equally invited to stop from working and not do any work.
Even the animals are blessed by the Sabbath rest in the commandments. Yes. Keldy, you wanted to say something.
Well, I was just going to point out one more thing about the creation. Sorry, going back a little bit here. But it's interesting that the Sabbath is actually the first day for human beings. It's the seventh day of the week, but really it is the first day where human beings, the first full day that they experience. And they weren't tired, they didn't work, but the first day in their existence is the special day that is separated for fellowship with God. So for me, that really highlights how spending time with God, having that fellowship with God, should be the foundation of our existence. That's how we should look forward to the next week, by beginning the time with this fellowship with God, and that's the starting point basically of who we are as human beings.
To watch the full episode, visit the official website of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in English on YouTube. The Adventist Development and Relief Agency, ADRA, is marking a remarkable milestone. ADRA is celebrating 40 years of service and taking a moment to reflect on its enduring legacy of justice and compassion. Over the decades, this agency has earned global recognition for its outstanding emergency aid efforts, responding to thousands of calamities and natural disasters worldwide.
Hello, my name is Michael Kruger, President of ADRA International. This year, ADRA celebrates a wonderful milestone of 40 years of service to vulnerable and marginalized communities around the globe. ADRA's first major response in 1983 was to the significant famine in the country of Ethiopia. And since then, ADRA has responded to thousands of natural calamities. It is important for us to look back and to reflect on how God has blessed this agency, to learn the lessons from the challenges that we have faced. But more importantly, ADRA needs to ensure that it stands ready to respond with justice, compassion, and love. Since our very earliest days, ADRA has been known for emergency responses around the globe. As we look at media today, hurricanes seem stronger, tropical storms bring more devastation, extended droughts impact farmers, and so ADRA has pivoted and changed in order to be able to respond to these challenges. ADRA's development work takes place under three core pillars, one of which is health. In communities struck with perhaps long-term drought or being ravaged by storms, access to things like clean running water and sanitary services is not that simple. And the people who are most affected in these circumstances are children. ADRA's school feeding initiative is a lot more than children with full tummies. Many of them without food simply don't come to school. And so this initiative brings the children to school and allows them to receive the skills they need to grow up into adults who in turn have a positive impact on their communities. In many of the schools, we have large vegetable gardens which provide the nutritious meal that those children need on a daily basis. But it also provides the opportunity for the parents to become involved. For communities in need, very often all they simply need is a helping hand. That helping hand could be the provision of a skill, the making available of a small loan, or the marketing of a product. In the country of Mongolia, ADRA has been working with farmers for many years in helping them improve the output of whether it is their vegetable or their wool produce that they seek to bring to market. These projects of ADRA provide aid to the farmers. It includes sustainable planting techniques, assisting farmers in packaging their goods in a way that is appealing to consumers. ADRA made education its third pillar of development. A quality education is life-changing for any child. In 2018, ADRA ran a connections trip with students from universities and colleges within the United States and Brazil, and they traveled to a very remote area within the Amazon and set about building a school for that community. Today, that school is full to capacity. ADRA and students around the world are looking forward to doing more trips like that to change the lives of young children in remote places. Along with our development pillars, we recognize the growing need to amplify the voices of others through advocacy. In 2019, ADRA launched its first global advocacy campaign to work with leaders around the globe for them to get every child everywhere in school. In partnership with leaders within the Adventist Church and with lay people within our communities, we were able to garner 1.3 million signatures to support our campaign. In Europe, ADRA hosted an Education Accelerator Summit in which they hosted both government and leaders from the academic communities. Pilot projects have also been initiated in several countries. One special advocacy project comes to us from Mexico. A book called Me Llaman Migrante places the spotlight on the plight of migrants and promotes awareness through storytelling. An interactive exhibit brings this book to life and allows those who engage with it to come to a truer understanding of the plight, the difficulties, and the challenges that so many migrants experience. Anniversaries aren't the same unless we share them with those that we love. We want to express our deepest gratitude to each and every one of you who have supported ADRA these many, many years, and for those who have borne us up in prayer. Thank you to all of you. This is just the beginning. ADRA has much more to do as we move forward with justice, compassion, and love.
New Delhi and Pune, India hosted the G20 meetings. The Group of 20 is an international economic cooperation forum formed by 19 countries and the European Union. In New Delhi, the event focused on political matters. In Pune, religious leaders from diverse backgrounds converged for interfaith dialogues. Dr. Edison Samraj, Education Director of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Southern Asia, stood out as he delivered the Interfaith Summit inaugural address about the power of grace and its pivotal role in our lives. In an interview, Dr. Samraj gave details on why the denomination participated in this type of summit.
So the world is going through a lot of issues concerning man's difficulties. And the only way the planet Earth can survive is to have a concept of one Earth, one family, and one future, a unified future. And it was my golden opportunity to present the picture from the Bible as to what can actually consolidate the human family into one family. And I presented only a one-point agenda, that grace alone can bring the world together. And I meant that the grace of Jesus Christ, the Alpha and Omega, the powerful characteristics of the gospel, and the elements of grace alone can enhance oneness in the human family. And the civilizational dictum of India is Vasudeva Kudubagam. It means all human family is one family. But how does that oneness become a reality? There is no other way except through the grace of God. If the grace of God has reached everyone, and there will be oneness in grace. This was the focus of my message, and I presented it, of course, in language that they would understand. and brought home the gospel. A very simple gospel parable was explained, and I said knowledge, economic strength, and even political power cannot achieve grace. Only grace can be given by a God that is higher than us. So with that one point agenda, I concluded my presentation, giving a broad overview of what I will be presenting tomorrow in the form of a theme that I have entitled The Story of Zero and the Journey to One.
Retained members reach the cities and inhabitants of the 1040 window, which stretches from Northwest Africa into the Middle East and across to Asia, and win over the growing secular and post-Christian population. This is the purpose of Global Mission, to reach the unreached with hope.
Every 30 seconds, somewhere in the world, someone becomes a Seventh-day Adventist. In 2021, a new Adventist church was established every 3.6 hours. And last year, we reached 22 million members. We thank God for how His kingdom is expanding around the world, but we still face huge mission challenges. Let's look at the 4 biggest challenges we face. First, the retention rate in our church. For every 10 people who come into the church, 4 leave. Second, the cities. This is where most of the world's population now live. This is a particularly difficult challenge for Seventh-day Adventists. We've had a difficult history with cities and prefer country living, but we must face our new mission field. Third, the 1040 window, which stretches from Northwest Africa into the Middle East and through to Asia. This is where most of the world's population live and the fewest Christians. Millions here have never even heard the name of Jesus. Consider, for example, Uttar Pradesh. It's just one of 28 states in India. Most of us know it as home to the Taj Mahal. But if this relatively small state were a country, it would be the 5th most populous in the world. In central Uttar Pradesh, we have 6 Adventist churches, 1 for every 10 million people. The challenge is even greater in Bihar, another Indian state bordering Uttar Pradesh. In the Bihar region, we have just 4 churches, 1 for nearly 32 million people. If we had the same ratio as Bihar in the United States and Canada, we would have just 12 churches instead of 5,630 churches. In Kenya, we would have about 2 churches instead of 7,347 churches. In Brazil, we would have fewer than 7 churches instead of nearly 10,000 churches. And in the Philippines, we would have about 3 churches instead of 5,300 churches. The final major challenge is the growing secular and post-Christian population. For the first time in history, a minority of people in England and Wales ticked the Christian box in Census 2021. And this trend that we've seen for many years in Western Europe, Australia, and New Zealand is now reaching the United States and other areas. As we look at these challenges, we must remember that they're also God's challenges. He has a plan for the salvation of this world and has graciously invited us to participate with Him in His plan. This is the purpose of Global Mission, to reach the unreached with hope. Every Global Mission Center, every Global Mission Pioneer, every tent maker, and every urban center of influence has the same goal: to start new groups of believers among unreached people groups. It's time to refocus our time, resources, and prayers on these major mission challenges.
Thank you for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Did you know the Seventh-day Adventist Church has a YouTube channel where you can watch ANN Video, ANN In Depth, and plenty of other amazing videos on prophecy, health, and Bible study? Just go to YouTube and search for the Adventist Church. Make sure you click the subscribe button so you never miss a new video. And remember, leave a comment or a prayer request. We have a team dedicated to praying for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Before we say goodbye, we'll leave you with some good news from the book of Psalms, chapter 29, verse 11. The Lord will give strength to His people. The Lord will bless His people with peace. That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit adventist.news for daily news and videos. Until next time, when we will have more news of faith, love, and hope. God bless.